ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, we are continuing the countdown to episode 400 by taking a look at the movie that came in 4th place. It is a film from 2009, and it is called Dead Hooker in a Trunk. Now, I don't know anything else, guys, about this movie. I'm going to be straight up with you. I have no idea what the plot is. The only thing I can guess, and it's just based on the title, is it probably has something to do with a hooker who's dead and in the trunk of somebody's car. I don't know why the hooker's dead. I don't know why it's stuffed in somebody's car. I have no idea if this movie's a comedy, a horror, a thriller. I don't know what it is. I have not seen a single trailer. I haven't bothered to read the back. I have no idea. I am flying into this sucker completely blind. And I don't know, guys, if this thing is going to be any good at all, and the only way I'm going to find out is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Dead Hooker in a Trunk. Oh boy, guys, the movie's just started, and we're being treated to some really shitty, ultra shitty metal. Oh boy, this is not a good way to start, guys. Okay, guys, I would just like to say right now, this is some of the clumsiest dialogue I think I have ever heard. Like, nobody here actually sounds natural. Nobody here sounds like they're actually a person. The sickest part, guys, about this is that this thing was written by 2 people. Neither of them could get fucking dialogue right, because apparently neither of them have ever listened to a human being speak. Well, guys, the story is going absolutely nowhere, and now we're being treated to what sounds like really shrieky, kind of shitty Japanese, metal. This thing, guys, is seriously just getting worse with every passing scene. Oh, and now we have a gunfight. This should prove to be boring and shit. You know what, guys? I have completely given up on this movie being good. I've given up on this movie giving us a story that's actually worth telling, or actually giving us like a story that's even at least partially interesting. Do you want to know what I want right now? I want the names of these characters. I want the fucking Saska sisters to show me that they can at least name their shallow, pointless, shitty characters. Because they so far have shown me that they do not know how to write, and they don't know what the hell a good story is. Can they at least give names to these 4 characters? That's all I'm asking for right now. So, our 4 nameless characters are now torturing a random guy because he's wearing a black hoodie. And the person who the cops are looking for, who's killing hookers, also wears a black hoodie. Isn't that, like, profiling and incredibly stupid? Doesn't it seem kind of weird? Okay, that was a lot of blood for just knocking out a tooth. Anyway, doesn't it seem kind of weird that they would just randomly find some random fucking jackoff who just happens to have a black hoodie and go, "It's him!" without any real evidence or proof? I totally understand, guys, that the fucking, writers of this thing are stupid. But this, guys, honestly is going beyond fucking stupid. Well, guys, that was Dead Hooker in a Trunk. Let's shut that off. My fucking God, was that ever stupid. Okay, man, where to even start? Jesus Christ. Alright, well, let me start with writing. I asked earlier if we were going to get names for any of our characters, and we didn't. However, shortly after I asked that, the film brought in a dog. Why? Just because. And the dog got a name. The dog's name is Billy. At least I can name the dog. I couldn't tell you the names of our 4 characters. Shortly after I said that, I then decided to scan the back of the case, hoping to find the names for our 4 lifeless, shitty characters. We don't get names. Instead, we get what barely count as nicknames. These things, guys, are not nicknames. These are fucking personality traits. We have Badass and her twin sister Geek. We have Junkie, and we have Goody Two Shoes. Yippee! I think maybe, and the reason why I call these personality traits and not nicknames is because, people usually are called their nickname. In this instance, Geek is just called a geek at one point while having a shouting match with her sister, and before we see Goody Two Shoes, somebody happens to refer to him as Geek's Goody Two Shoes friend. That's literally, guys, as close as we get to names. And the fact that our characters have no names is just kind of sort of the start of the problems involving writing. Our story could have been kind of cool. Because you could totally have written a dark comedy with a plot of a bunch of friends find a hooker randomly in their trunk, and they now have to dispose of the body. You could totally do that. And this movie was trying to go at times for a very dark comic feel. Except the humor didn't work because none of it was funny. None of it was funny because the dialogue is so incredibly clumsy and klutzy that honestly, guys, all humor was almost guaranteed to die right there. There really, guys, is just nothing here in terms of dialogue or writing. We have here a story that really just seems to want to go nowhere. And our characters are going places and doing things with absolutely no, detail. They randomly find a guy in a fucking hoodie and they think that he is the killer because he's wearing a hoodie. And of course that isn't the killer, and when the killer finally catches up to them, the killer then goes, "Oh, well, that actually was my brother who just happened to be borrowing my baseball bat at the time." It's like, good God. That really wasn't even a necessary cop-out. It's like, and that guy seriously was it. It was a fucking cop-out. It could have totally been just a random stranger, but no. The person who just happens to be walking past the hooker's home just happens to be the brother of the hooker serial killer, who apparently is really bad at his job. Because I'd like to spoil this much at least: the hooker isn't dead until far further into the film, when our four nameless dipshits decide to try to bury her, and then she springs up, and then they crack her with a shovel, and then, as far as we know, at that point the hooker is now officially dead. But that isn't until around the halfway point. But still, this guy is going out and he is killing hookers, and he just happens to have a brother who also has the very same hoodie. And apparently a black hoodie is the only thing you have to wear in fucking Canada to show that you kill hookers in your spare, time. Holy shit. God, was there anything here for writing that was good? Well, there was maybe like a joke here, a joke there that kind of worked. Would probably have worked better if the fucking acting was better, because then the lines would have actually been would have actually been delivered correctly, and the humor would probably have flourished a little bit more. However, though, that honestly is not the fault of the writing. That there is more the acting. And while I'm on the subject of acting, why don't I jump right into acting? Our two main stars here are also the people who wrote and directed this, which are Jen and Sylvia Soska. Ladies, neither of you know how to write, and neither of you certainly know how to act. You both suck as actors, and if the script here is anything to go by, you also suck at writing too. Let me just try to explain here. It honestly is not just them that sucks. The whole fucking cast wasn't even trying. Well, correction. The person who plays Junkie, I guess we might as well just go by the retarded little nickname they slapped on the back here. She actually was a fairly decent actress, and she actually knew what the hell she was doing. Nobody else here did. Nobody else here put in any kind of effort. Nobody else here fucking tried. And because of that, the movie suffers, and it suffers greatly. Of course, the actors might have been a little bit more compelled to try, if they were given a script that wasn't a piece of shit. I might as well go back to the writing, because I kind of have to nail this too. it's painfully obvious that Jen and Sylvia Soska are big fans of Quentin Tarantino, because this thing, guys, is aping everything off of Tarantino. Everything, guys, from camera angles, oneers that go on for a while, just everything, guys, which Tarantino is known for, is also dumped in here. The only thing that isn't there is the mountain of pop culture references per film. That seriously, well, actually, it's also missing all of the soul and all of the charm of a Quentin Tarantino script. This thing here is absolutely devoid of that. However, I think I've already covered that. Alright, so, writing sucks. The acting sucks. What about everything else? Well, the camera work is okay when the camera's actually stationary, because a whole lot of this is shot on handheld, and I am almost certain that the person who was holding the camera must have been suffering from Parkinson's, because the camera's constantly, like, jittering and shaking. And also, the cameraman doesn't know how to care for his camera, because at one point, as they're walking into like a youth group thing at a church, the camera pans up and you can see the sun in the corner. All right, fine. The problem is the sun is then glaring off of all of the dust on the camera lens, and it looks absolutely amateurish and cheap. It looks horrible, guys. There's also a problem in terms of the color balance in this film. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, every single black color on any scene which is shot indoors looks terrible. It looks freaking washed out. In fact, really, I think the best way to sum it up is, if you guys have ever looked at a PC monitor from a fucking angle and the blacks all of a sudden look kind of bluish, that is basically what happens here, and I was not able to fix that from here. I seriously, guys, was like tilting and moving my laptop screen, thinking perhaps maybe it was the fact that my screen was in a weird spot. But no, it actually is just that the film is colored that poorly, and that is awful. And it seriously, guys, renders a whole lot of those scenes almost fucking unwatchably ugly, because almost everything is washed out in blue because they don't know how to light anything for shit. Speaking of that, yes, lighting here also sucks. Well, at least it sucks whenever they're filming something in fucking doors. Outdoors, they are using sunlight and it works. However, whenever they are indoors, it looks absolutely terrible because they don't know how to light anything. Special effects. There are very few special effects here outside of things like squibs and guts and all of that's real basic stuff. However, I do have to comment on their use of rubber limbs. There is one scene that stands out to me, and it's when Junkie is yelling at everybody else on the side of the road, and she throws her arms out, and a truck comes screaming by, and it shears off her fucking arm. Okay, that's totally fine when they go and they dig her arm out of the truck's grill, because the truck apparently was able to stop on a fucking dime exactly 5 feet after severing her arm. Don't ask how, I don't even fucking know. And the arm that was pulled out of the grill was incredibly pink. Now, right here is the problem. The actress who played Junkie is kind of sort of tan. She actually is kind of sort of like me. Her skin tone is a little bit darker. So her arm would not be this ultra pink thing. It would probably be a little bit darker, and we also cannot talk about how, you know, like how a fucking limb is severed and the blood loss might cause the color to change on the limb a little. It wouldn't turn it pink, okay? It looked hideous. Then there's also our killer's dick, which I'm gonna spoil this too, apparently was mutilated when he was a child because a rabbi royally fucked up his breast, and everybody who sees it is treating it like it's this evil, horrible forked thing. And when he finally, you know, like whips it out, it basically guys is just a dildo with a really tiny ass cut over the dick head. head. It isn't, you know, like spread or splayed or anything to actually look forked. It just looks scarred. So yeah, guys, there honestly was absolutely zero effort put into the prop work here. I will say, though, that Guts, in the one scene that has Guts, at least looks halfway decent, but you see, that also is probably because they just went to a fucking slaughterhouse and they got some guts from, like, a cow or a pig and used that, because that is really easy to do. It's ultra cheap. So yeah, guys, that honestly is really the only positive to special effects, is they were able to get their hands on animal parts to fill in for human, you know, guts. So, okay, yeah, we do have that. Everything else, though, in terms of special effects, are either basic or the prop work is complete shit. Anyway, I have covered lighting, sound mix. Holy mother of God, the fucking sound mix. Alright, guys, I understand that this was the first outing from the frickin', like, Saska sisters, but you still have to understand that when you are doing your sound mix, you have to make sure that everybody is leveled equally. You can't have two characters in a scene. One of them apparently has the boom mic directly over them, so everything they say comes in clear as hell, while the other person is muffled and quiet because the boom mic isn't focused on them. Of course, that also is the job of the boom mic operator, to actually move the boom between each person so that way you can hear them clearly, or you try to block the shot so that way the boom mic is directly between them, so that way they both are heard equally. But since none of that happened, we have tons of scenes where we will have two characters talking, you can hear one of them perfectly and the other one is muffled and quiet because the boom mic wasn't able to perfectly pick up everything which they were saying. It's cheap. It is cheap, amateurish bullshit, and even guys for a first outing, I would have expected better. Yeah, guys, ultimately, guys, this movie is a complete waste, and because of that, I cannot recommend Dead Hooker in a Trunk. This thing has nothing. Correction, it doesn't have nothing. It does show that the fucking Saska sisters at least kind of care about making a movie. It's just that they don't have what it takes to actually make a movie. They do not have the skills to write, they do not have the skills to act, they do not have the skills to fucking, direct. They seriously are basically just film fans who don't actually have what it takes to make a proper film. And I do know that the Saska sisters have another movie out there, but after seeing this thing, I really don't want to watch their other film because I fear it's going to be just as lifeless and as pointless as this thing. Oh my god. Anyway, guys, Dead Hooker in a Trunk came off the Amazon wishlist. The person who sent it in was Josh. You can find his YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/JoshWBHS2010. Yes, guys, I actually had to write that down. There's no way I was going to remember that. Swing over there, guys, and check out everything he has. And Josh, I thank you because I was sort of curious about, this one. I also would like to thank everybody who voted for it and got it in fourth place, because it's thanks to you guys that it's also thanks to you guys that I got to watch it, because you basically told me you wanted to see this one. So yes, Josh, thank you, and to everyone who voted for this, I thank you. Now, once more, guys, that is youtube.com/user/JoshWBHS2010. Wow, I really thought that this was going to be good. But seeing as in how the Saska sisters wanted to be Quentin Tarantino so badly, I'm going to go watch some of Quentin Tarantino's actual films. I think maybe I'll go watch Django and then Pulp Fiction. I'm just going to watch those like back to back, because that's sounding really awesome right now. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.